Okay, hi.
Control.
So good morning again, Karen Dodd here, and today I'm joined by two of our lovely wise women presenters. So immediately on my left, who do we have?
Lucinda Wilde.
And what? Tell us a little bit about
A little
yourself.
bit about me.
Yeah,
So, on the spot
on the
now.
spot. Why did you want to be a wise woman?
I didn't think I was a wise woman until you asked me to be one.
Right.
So I'm kind of the mind that the viewers will decide if I'm wise
Cool.
or not, because
But
I'm
it,
not sure
it
that I
resonated
am.
with you, yeah? I'm sure you are from the conversations we've had in the past. And today our subject, we're talking about yoga versus gym, the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over to you, Lianne.
So
Introduce
I'm
yourself.
Lianne Campbell, and I'm a life and wellbeing coach, but I specialise in somatic practices. So yoga is one of my big loves in life. So yeah.
And what, when you say somatic practices, what does that mean exactly? Because a lot of people wouldn't have even heard of that word.
Yeah,
somatic.
basically embodiment practices. So anything, for me, somatic practices are really when you're bypassing the subconscious, so you're getting right into your body where the memory is, and all the ancient practices, yoga, tai chi, the modern day energy psychology, EFT, they all sort of encompass the presence that's in the ancient practices. So that's why I love it, taking life coaching through that lens. So,
So, and it's kind of energy work of a sort. Would you describe it as energy? Yeah, because we are all energy bodies, aren't we? Which we're all learning more. We're not just this physical thing. We're carrying an energy in us and around us, which is great. Which leads us, I think, into our subject of yoga. So, who practices yoga?
I practice yoga. Yeah,
Me. Excellent. Yeah, and who teaches yoga?
Yeah, I too.
Yeah. So we've got two yoga teachers, and we've got a practice lady.
Yeah.
You probably practice more than me, because I find it really hard to self-practice. I mean, do you have a discipline? Do you practice on your own, or do you go to classes?
Self-discipline. That's one of the things in life I struggle with.
Okay.
I get up and I try to go to yoga at least 3 times a week.
Wow.
It doesn't always happen. The alarm clock might go off and I think, I can't be bothered, I'm just going to stay here. But when I do go, I never feel worse for going.
Yeah, absolutely. And how, I mean, it's difficult. No, it's not difficult, but my answer would be different to yours, because we've done the training of being a yoga teacher, so we've probably gone a little bit deeper. How do you see, as a practitioner, and I really admire you for doing it 3 times a week, because it's hard, isn't it? And I remember going to one of my classes, and I use this when I teach, saying, well, the fact that you've turned up, you've done half the job, because it's actually think, oh, I've got to get out of bed and I'm busy, I've got to hang the washing up, walk the dogs or something. So I think that's yoga, because it's a lifestyle, isn't it? I mean, how do you see it as a practitioner of it?
I do agree with what you just said. The hardest part is getting onto the mat, especially when there's so much going on in the world. But what was the question again?
Well, how do you see it when somebody says, I'm, because even that I'm going to do yoga, to me I think, oh, you don't do yoga, you practice yoga. It's a way of life. But how do you see it? Is it like an exercise class, like going to the gym?
I see it as exercise combined with meditation and spirituality. So I mean, compared to the gym, when I go to the gym, I literally go there and do physical exercise. When I go to yoga, I get the combination of the two.
Yes, yeah. What do you think, Lianne?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like when you said before, we've got an energy body, but I think whatever you do, we're not compartmentalised like that. So even if you're going in from a position of, right, I'm just going to exercise, if you take on the principles, then eventually you're going to drop into a deeper level of it. And I was thinking actually on the way here, my very first experience of a yoga class, I was in my late 20s, I was a dancer, full on wanted to push myself, and I thought yoga irritated me. I'd never tried it, because I thought there's no way I can go in there and do all this slow stuff. I wanted music. I wanted to really feel my body. And what I hadn't realised at that time, I was really hard on myself. It was just like I wanted that never enough, keep going. And one day I'd gone to the gym. I was chronically asthmatic. I was really struggling with health issues. And I got to the gym and I had a really bad day. I just failed an audition, and I'd forgotten my inhaler, and I'd gone there to like run my stress out on the treadmill, and So the only thing, I saw yoga and I thought, okay,
I'll do that.
I'll do that.
Oh gosh.
I walked in rolling my eyes and that was my first, I don't know, something happened that day.
Yeah.
And it was the way you're talked down into your body.
Yeah.
And I was really resisting it at first and really just
Yeah.
frustrated with everything. And I remember we were doing a warrior and something switched in my body and I felt this strength that I'd never felt before.
Yeah.
And I never went back in the gym after that.
That's amazing.
That was it. That for me. But I had, I was thinking, oh, yoga versus gym, like, should it be in a gym? Is it? Part of me thinks, well, sometimes it's how you get somewhere.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I wouldn't have done that. I would never. Well, I may have done. Who knows?
Later in life, but that's
time,
what took you to it.
That moment, and because I was in such a mess when I went into the class, and I came out, I felt this strength, and I'd also felt this peace. That it was almost like this. I don't know. It was an awakening. I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
at
it's
the
like
time.
a eureka moment.
So now I've got, I'm mixed about it. I think whatever you do, you're going to affect everything else. What you do physically affects your emotions, and I think it's not what you do so much as how you do it. So I actually do think now as well, if you're going to work out in a gym, if you took on the principles of, well, be present, where are your thoughts, what you're achieving, then that would you can also draw on that. So it's a mixed bag, really.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be one or the other, does it? You know,
Yeah.
I think, I mean, who was it that brought yoga to the West? I keep saying Yehudi Menwin, but he's a violinist, isn't he? So it wasn't him, but maybe he had discovered it. I think with Iyengar. I think that's what it was. I should know this from my training.
I know.
But we forget. Well, it's there somewhere. But I think Iyengar, BKS, who passed a few years ago, I think he brought it to the West. As an Indian, Eastern mystical practice that they all do, and which is thank you for doing that. But I think it's like many things, it gets diluted, doesn't it? So the true meaning of yoga, I think for a lot of people that do practice yoga on the mat, think, okay, I've done my class, and then they go and I don't know, stuff their face with biscuits and cakes, which that's me. Whereas when you really get into the yoga, you think, why are you doing it? It's not just about being on the mat and being bendy and flexible. It's really about, it's a lifestyle. It's about how you treat yourself in every which way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all those things. And it is a way of life. And I know when I did my teacher training, she said, the fact that you might go off walking in the woods and just spending time with the trees or whatever, that's your yogic practice. That is. And I thought, really? Oh, I'll do that. I prefer to do that than warrior. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for it. So, and I think that's the thing. Whereas when, again, I used to go regularly to a Iyengar class, which was quite strict because you have to hold your poses and, be in perfect posture alignment. And I remember once I was doing the warrior once, warrior 2, and my teacher, I'd had a tennis elbow injury. So I had to lower my arm, and my teacher came up to me and said, I didn't give you permission to lower your arm. And I thought, whoa. I thought, wow, but it's my arm. I said, I've got an injury. Oh, all right then. And I thought that, again, was another empowering thing for me, because she's quite an assertive teacher. And it takes you back when you go to classes and you go to teachers, it takes you back to school, like, Miss, can I go to the toilet? Or Miss, can, And the fact that, and she had a very commanding voice, and the fact that I'd lowered my arm, and I had the guts or the confidence to say, well, actually, it hurts me, I need to, and then she sort of, so it's quite interesting. And she used to say to me, oh, you're a gym bunny, aren't you? Because I used to go, not to the gym, I don't like the gym. I like classes, I like aerobic and anything moving, dancing and stuff like that.
So what yoga do you do then?
I've done many styles. I think my favourite style is Jivamukti, because I can feel the heat inside me build up. But I started with Iyengar because I was a little bit overweight, and it's actually down to yoga that I've lost a lot of weight, and I had a frozen shoulder. And the starting to practice yoga has given me freedom of movement through my shoulders, corrected my posture, and I've lost weight. But it's not really even a conscious thing. It's just happened. And I'm stronger. I haven't got joint pain or anything like that. And another reason I did it was because I've been in recovery for substance abuse, and I wanted to expand my spiritual practice rather than just go to the gym. And I often used to feel quite angry when I went to the gym, because especially there's one in the marina at Brighton, obviously I'm not going to say the name, and there's a lot of those muscle bound, like, you know, roid boys up there, and they're quite aggressive, and that used to make me feel angry and aggressive. So I stepped away from that.
I think that's the thing with the gym, and you know, there's nothing wrong with the gym. It makes you feel good, as whatever feels good. But I think the gym doesn't have that spiritual aspect, does it? It is a bit of a gung ho fitness and what have you. But I mean, I was chatting with my friend the other day, talking, and the videos there, Sexy at 60, and she's a gym bunny, but she's a yoga teacher as well, and she's all sorts of stuff. But she loves going to the gym. And she says when you get older, you need to go to the gym. You need to pump iron because of the osteoporosis that kicks in. And I thought, okay. But I would say, well, you can, you know, do lots of planks or something, because that's you know, muscle building as well.
Because you're working with resistance.
So it is. It's resistance, isn't it? Which is quite interesting.
And I do have a personal trainer as well to do the weight work. And build bone strength and avoid osteoarthritis. I found that really helpful when I heard the co-presenter say that.
Oh, the other day? Oh, you're watching it? Okay. Oh, good. So somebody's watching it, which reminds me, if you are watching any of these videos, what do we want to do, Lianne?
Subscribe.
Like.
Comment.
And
share.
There you go. We're going to keep doing that.
Rehearsed, by the way.
None of this is rehearsed, as you'll see. The dogs will stop. We've got 3 dogs in the yurt today, and somebody will walk past and they will bark. So, you know, it's warts and all. Yours is asleep at the moment, but you've just walked up from the town, haven't you? Which is not. That's your yoga practice for the day.
She's in happy puppy pose.
That's happy puppy pose. Yeah, it is a pose. I love that, actually, the names of the poses, because when you look into again more deeply, the reasons that they have been named. And I'm very much into, when I did my teacher training, the pose I had to teach was Warrior 2, Virapradasana, so I can't say, Warrior 2, Virapradasana 2, that isn't the correct way of saying it, but, and it's quite interesting, because I learned through a fantastic teacher. I love her to bits. She's absolutely brilliant, because she really brought in the spiritual and the psychological, you know, all the Sanskrit readings, the ancient texts and stuff like that. So that was her thing. It was brilliant. So when I had to do all the paperwork, the dogma that goes to getting an exam, because it is the course I did was like the foundation course for a degree. It's really intense, 500 hours or whatever. And I remember you had all these columns, so you had to put all, you know, how it benefited you, the physical side, the mental side, and what muscles doing this, that, and that, all these things which you had to learn. And I wasn't very good at putting it in the right columns. I got it all in a muddle, because I thought, well, I'm not here to fill out paper. I'm here to be a yoga teacher. And I sort of could have failed on the paperwork, but she called me in, and I was so upset but angry. That's my ego kicking in, thinking, you know, I want to be a yoga teacher. I don't want to fill in all the bits of paper. But I think I became her teacher through this interaction we had. So I went to her house, we had coffee, we chatted about it, and she said, well, it's a new way for her to grade her students. And she didn't know the way that, you know, she said, I think this goes there and I think that goes there. So we had a really nice interaction about the paperwork. I got through it in the end, but my mission to start with was like, I'm not going to do this. You know, I'm going to sulk. I don't want to be a yoga teacher because I don't want to fill in all these columns. But after that interaction, I taught the following week. I got some people together, and she said, just throw yourself into it. So it changed my life. And it was so powerful. Again, empowering, because I think that's what the yoga does. It's empowering because you make these decisions yourself. So okay, it can be physical, bendy, flexy, but the inner work that comes from it is quite amazing. And when I go to a class locally, I've started, I don't teach for a while. I sometimes run little workshops and what have you, but the commitment is quite heavy going, isn't it, when you're teaching on a regular basis? But there's a chap that's next to me regularly on a Monday evening or Tuesday morning, and he's a cyclist. He's very muscular, and you can just see the transformation of his body, where, you know, he can't even sit down and cross his legs because he's got muscly legs. But now he's been going regularly, and it's kicking in. He said, I'm actually doing more yoga than cycling.
I'm feeling the strength as well.
That's right.
I think that's
and I said, wait till you get into the real breathing and the spiritual aspect of it. It just, you know, it changes your life, really. It's quite amazing.
And I think it's that thing, the essence of it comes into your everyday life then. So when you're really present and you're just with your breath and you're just with your body, then you start to notice. And I think when change happens as well, it's always good when you might go through a winter and think, oh yeah, I didn't get ill then. Or, oh my God, I just picked that up easily.
Absolutely.
And then you know that it's a foundation. It's not kind of, you're not flitting. You've got that steady
that's a way of life, isn't it?
Yeah, which I think you can. I think for me, with the gym, there are certain aspects of yoga, as in the other ancient practices, that there's a real understanding of how your energy moves in your body. So getting the left and right brain crossing over, and often a lot of things in the gym cause like a homolateral pattern. So you're not firing on all cylinders, or watching a screen as you're doing. So you're out of your body. And I think the more you can take any aspect, whether it's weights, cardio, but then bring in that essence of, okay, where's my mind now? How am I breathing? How does my body feel? Then you can take in all the different aspects in any. It's yoga. You can almost do gym yoga.
Yeah.
If you bring in those aspects, and I think that's where in the West that we've often made the mistakes that we've come in with our way. And even, I guess, even saying yoga versus gym, it's almost like, okay, where's the commonalities? Where can we enhance? So if you're going to do weights, if you're, because some people love it, they want to get on the rower, they want to,
that's
so
their
do
thing.
that.
Yeah, I get that.
But also, how can you bring in other aspects of the wisdom that's around?
Maybe it is incorporating the breathing, with your weights and
most, I think, where your mind is.
Well, the mindfulness, because I mean, the yoga, the actual practice of yoga, because there's 8 limbs of yoga, isn't there? There's 8 aspects, which is the postures and the breathing and the meditation. But the reason that we actually do the physical asanas, the posture work, is to get that energy. I mean, it was done in India with the young boys because they had all this energy running and bouncing and everything. So when you do the postures, you're then ready to sit in meditation because you don't fidget. That's kind of where it came from.
I can't just sit down and meditate. I'll do something,
like shaking,
and then I feel my body. I almost meet it. And then we can do it, and there's a real and again, everyone's different. There are some people that'll be like, no, I need to stay quiet in the morning. I go to my place, I do my thing. So I think that's the other thing. There's no absolutes.
No.
However, because you can hide behind anything. You can get up, do your breathing, do your yoga, do your meditation, and just be. Yeah.
You're not in tune with yourself necessarily.
You can be a bit silly the rest of the day.
I've actually managed not to.
You can just go on and just be like, okay, you can hide behind anything.
It's like just ticking a box. I've done that. But again, it's like not really feeling it.
If you really listen in your practice, you often get the thoughts bubble up, and it might be like, I'm not happy in my job, or I don't. I don't. I did that again. I lost it again. I said I wouldn't. So I think that's a moment to really listen
to the messages.
And you can do that while you're washing up. You can do it. That's the thing. Get your yoga off the mat in a way, and
integrate it into all life. Across the board, interactions with other human beings, which can be difficult.
They do goat yoga now as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's what makes me laugh about how we change it in the West, and it is good. It's puppy yoga, goat yoga, beer yoga, naked yoga, you name it, beer yoga. So again, you're in your warrior, and then you're I've seen that. Or balance it on your head. Laughter yoga.
What, have you done that?
Yes, it's contagious, isn't it?
I think the first time I did it, for the first half an hour, I hated everybody in the room
because they were just like, really?
I couldn't get. I was just sort of, this ridiculous. And then just something happened. I just
started laughing.
It was absolutely brilliant. It really
there was a clip going around. I don't know if you've seen it on the YouTube in New York or somewhere. It doesn't matter where. But a guy, I think it was a bit of an experiment. He just went onto the tube, where on these undergrounds where everybody's like in their own little space and terrified of touching people or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just came in and he did that practice. He started laughing, and then people would look up and thought, what's he laughing? What's he laughing at? And somebody else thought, what's he laughing at? In the end, the whole carriage were just in fits. It was brilliant, bringing people together, community, which is, I think, so important. It's very important.
Yeah.
But just talking about how yoga does change, or is being integrated into the West, I've noticed, and I love it, the fact that a lot of the classes I go to now, and including yours, because I went to Lianne's workshop, and I must say something about this the other day. You must go to one of her workshops. It's brilliant. But how people, and we'll put links somewhere here, somewhere along the line, but how people are now bringing in some shamanic practices, you know, or tapping, you know, the tapping, shaking, drumming, the sound baths. I just love it. It's love it. So it's, again, that's something, you know, if you are strictly going to an ashram or somewhere in India, I'm sure you'll just be doing the postures, but we have changed it a little bit, and I think that is brilliant. And the workshop that I was going to say that I went to, you did 2.5 hours. Was it 2.5 hours? When you said it's time to go, I thought, have we started? It just flew by. I honestly, I was really shocked how it flew by, and it was so fantastic. And the lesson that you gave, I followed it. So do explain what your little lesson was about the story.
So we used energy medicine and yoga to look at a story that you've been telling that isn't serving you any longer. So it's just, you know, I always do this, or I'm not confident, or I'd like to change my diet but I just can't. And one of the reasons we resist change, because as soon as you do something new, there's that part of you that says, wait a minute, you did this yesterday, we survived, let's just carry on. So that's often why we bounce back. So using story, which is again is an ancient modality of expression, healing, education, and using your story and then telling it in a slightly different way, and beginning to take that step of I gave an example of when I was living, I was sharing a house with a guy who is very wise, and he, at the time I was really struggling with my health and everything. I seemed to be allergic to everything, and I was saying, having this rant about my body being weak, you know, I'm really weak and weedy, and I wanted to be this strong dancer, warrior.
Go to the gym.
And he just turned around to me and said, your body's strong, see it as a strength. And it was just, and again, it's like the words are spells. They can keep you captivated for years, and then somebody said something else and it's like, wow. And he said, you're strong. And for me, I just suddenly thought, oh my God, that's okay. It's telling me, and actually the more I listened, the less it had to shout at me. And then I love that, listen to the whispers, your body doesn't have to shout, then listen to life. So it was a spell of see it like this. So then I began to tell a story of, my I'm strong, and I can use this for it to really guide me. I don't have to sit there and try and work out, you know, you eat cheese, you're going to have an asthma attack. You know, it's telling me. And it was a really lovely way to actually fall in love with my body, and go,
and trusting yourself.
And self-esteem again, because I think what we do is we have these stories, or we try and make ourselves do something huge, and then you don't keep that promise to yourself because your survival kicks in, and you lose a bit of your self-esteem. It's like, because you don't trust that you're going to show up.
It's also, I think, trusting yourself, using your instinct, your intuition, because we've been indoctrinated, haven't we, through the school system, from maybe little school, kindergarten to even when you're going to work, you know, you have a manager and all this kind of stuff, and you're used to being told what to do. So it takes a lot of courage and something, maybe a life change, something traumatic in your life, to start looking somewhere else. And I know through yoga, again going back to my teacher, bless her, and she's so cute. My teacher said, when I used to go to the Iyengar class, normally when people find yoga, it's because something's happened in their life. It's come to a crossroads, whether it's a relationship breakdown or a health issue, you know, and they sort of, like you're saying, when you forget you're in the hell, and and then it changes your life. And I know when I was going through a really dark patch in my life a few years ago, and I turned up to my yoga class, and it wasn't on. I was distraught. I sat in the car and cried, and I didn't. Then I realised, I thought, oh my God, am I hooked on the yoga? Or is it, you know, this support thing? And then I realised I've got to take this further. It was quite, which I don't think I get from the gym. So it just serves a different purpose. Some people might cry if the gym's shut. You know, I would be quite happy if the gym is shut, because I'm not a gym person. So quite interesting.
I think it's staying curious as well to what else is out there, because again, whenever you fix on anything and go, this is it. And you're shutting all the other options down. Because if I think about when I found yoga, I was so hell-bent, you know, that a workout's a workout and that isn't. However, I was calling out for help. I was just like, I was ill, I was failing auditions because I couldn't get through them. I couldn't breathe, I was having chest infections. And then it's like that, what's the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will come.
That's right.
And something comes your way. You might be listening to this now and going, oh, okay, well, right, I'm going to try. Something is paying attention to life. And what comes your way and what you hear and go,
signals.
All right, I'll just go, I'd never do that, but I'm going
to just be open to it, isn't it?
Who knows,
really?
I could go on the treadmill today and then suddenly find a completely different way that opens me up. Because I've got friends who go, when I run, I meditate. I knew a guy who said the only time he went into presence and feeling like a second expanded when he was going 100 miles an hour down a ski slope. That for him
was the yoga.
Was when I'm doing that.
I'm gonna die. I don't like doing that.
It was just like, boom.
I know. Or surfing. It's like connecting with nature. It's like
never say never.
Into something. No.
And also the things that you do, play with it, see what else you can bring in, see what else is coming up.
Absolutely.
And that,
Well, just with my experience, so I feel like we're dominating the conversation because I wanted you to say something in a minute, so I had a question for you.
Okay.
But it's only because you weren't at the workshop. But my experience from your workshop, because I've worked, I think I've workshop, I've done so much processing in my life and workshops and yoga and so many things. But it's really lovely to just attend, having been like a teacher of yoga, another class and just have somebody else guide you. And I thought, am I going to learn something? We're forever learning, aren't we? I don't think whilst we're still on this planet. But for me, I thought, okay, my change, my story was about trying to be a little bit more compassionate and humble in the way I handle people, because I'm a little bit gung-ho. And again, I know that's like, we haven't talked about the chakra system, but you know, if you go into my solar plexus, I'm very willful. And even in postures, I love forward bends. I love going forward, getting it done. I don't like back bends, you know, which is quite interesting. So I'm aware of that, and I know I upset people. I'm sorry, everybody that I upset. I'm aware of it at the time.
But I'm similar to you, Karen, in that way. I am like really gung-ho, it's like brutally honest. And I forget to consider people's feelings.
I know, and that's so important, isn't it? And people tell me, they're saying, but you're hurting people. I think, well, I do care, but I've got to get here, so out my way kind of thing. I'm on this mission. And having just put that, and so I said, carry on being assertive and a strong, wise crone woman, but try and do it with a little bit more love and compassion. And that was my story. So Lianne had us write down what, we kind of want you to be done with, burn or do whatever, rip it up, put it down the toilet. I think you suggested to some of us to eat it as well, didn't you? But we didn't do that. And then I thought, well, I'm going to be more humble and kind and compassionate with people. And I have been. I know I have, because family situations, I have just changed in certain things that I've just done. And also just driving. The other day, somebody was cutting me up and I thought, never mind, he's probably got things on his mind. And actually I didn't have to beat my car because somebody else beat on my behalf because this guy was not a very good driver. But it was done with compassion. And that workshop you did is making me think everything that I do, I am now more aware just by spending 2.5 hours in your company the other day. It was phenomenal. And maybe we can put a link to, I don't know, not that workshop, but if you're running others, we can put something on this.
Definitely.
To your website and stuff like that. And saying that, I've forgotten what I was going to ask you, Lucy. Now there was something, but
it'll come back.
It will come back. Dogs, maybe do you feel yoga, because you're a dog, you just qualified as a dog trainer?
Qualifying as a dog
you are
trainer,
qualifying as a dog trainer. So that could be like a yoga practice as well, couldn't it? Spending time mindfully, being with your dogs.
But dogs are spiritual creatures, I believe. And when I've done yoga in the past, you know, in lockdown when I was doing it in front of the TV, the dogs actually joined in.
Oh, what were they doing? Downward dog and puppy pose?
Yeah.
And, oh, how sweet is that? That is so sweet.
And when I lay down, they lay down. When I stand up, they stood up.
Oh,
And
she
you
is
do
beautiful.
You do dolphin pose, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But no, there is something about the connection to animals and the sixth sense that they have, and it's been knocked out of us, I think, hasn't it? Which is really sad. And I think talking about the yoga and the energy work that we're all doing and the spirituality is bringing us back into those senses that we deserve to have, that need to be reopened. They've been suppressed.
Yes.
They've been pushed away. You think when that tsunami happened in when was that? That big one, that very big one.
2004,
Was
wasn't
it?
2005,
Way back when.
yeah.
All the animals knew, you know, all the animals knew. They sensed it. The birds, not that I was there, but you know, there weren't many dead animals around because they'd taken off. So they're in tune with nature, and that's where we need to go with all these wonderful practices that we can, you know, whether it is working with the animals. And I think that's lovely because I absolutely love animals, or working with the energy and the yoga, or being in nature. I think that's really, really important. And for people to find something that they love doing, whatever that might be. Yeah. So let us know. Again, put in the comments to get involved in this, because the idea of this channel is, you know, to be like a community for people online. We can't go live yet until we get 1,000 subscribers. So we need you to like, share, subscribe, and share it, and tell us what you want us to talk about, or to bring in experts. And also maybe if there's something that you want to get involved in, you'll be, you know, very welcome to join us around the table, maybe on a Zoom if you're too far away, if you're not in Sussex. But, you know, get involved. This is really for you. And we're going to be talking about everything and anything, and it is just banter in a way, isn't it? Because we can just
sharing, isn't it? It's nice.
And we could even do a live yoga class.
Yes. Is that your phone or my phone?
Oh, I'm really sorry.
No, that's all right, because it came up. I think you're phoning me because a message came up on my screen when your phone. Are you phoning me? Because I'm here.
This is modern day technology. Just talk to each other, will you?
Yeah, that's right. That's the other thing, isn't it? Phones and screens. We do, I think, need to talk about phones and screens. Yeah.
I think maybe we need to turn them off before we start.
Yeah. Or I can't turn mine off because I'm using my phone.
Because you're using it. Yeah.
But cool. So anything else? What else would we like to say? Anything that you could think of?
No, I mean, I think we're coming back to yoga versus the gym again. I think it is a personal choice, and there's lots that we can find the commonalities and the gold in all of it and bring it together.
Definitely.
Well, I think there's, you know, positives to both, and I think they work well together. I mean, some yoga classes, some gym classes, or definitely the weights for bone health.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see a lot of holidays like surf and yoga as well, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, so it can be gym and yoga.
It's coming in a lot of ways. Actually,
absolutely, which is becoming part of a way of life. So I think that is
it's a foundation to I think to almost everything. Actually, what's nice when you look at the ancient practices, like there's these threads of truth that run through them, which is presence, which is it's taking it off the mat. It's not just your it's a way of life. It's definitely bringing it in ways that make sense to you. So,
but I know one thing which I think is also quite important to say, and that was when I used to be a really good wine drinker, red wine.
I'm good at that.
I was very good at that. See, this is interesting. Beaujolais was my thing, because it's like alcoholic Ribena, isn't it? You can get through quite a lot of it. But when I was practicing my yoga, when I was doing my teacher training, so this is, 15 years ago, I think, I don't know. I remember I wouldn't come in with a hangover, but it would be like one of my favourite subjects to talk about wine. Not smelling it and saying, you know, vintage or what country. I didn't know any of that. I just liked drinking it and the effects it gave. And then my teacher, she said, well, you can give up the milk and you can give up the dairy and the meat and do all this, but if you are consuming wine, I thought, was she looking at me when she said it? You know, it will mess up your head a little bit. You know, and I thought, oh gosh, he said, but if you really want to take it to, I know this will offend some people perhaps, because we do like wine, or we do like, you know, we've all got something we like, whether it's smoking or chocolate, or sweet things. That's my vice, which I need to get rid of. But because she said that, and I really wanted to connect with, you know, more with my third eye, let's say, and the spiritual aspect of it, I gave up.
Mm.
I could not believe it. And I said to my family, you know, I said, I'm just going to stop drinking for a month or so, because I quite often used to do a detox in September when the kids have gone back to school, because you've eaten all that rubbishy food with kids, you know. So when they go back to school every September, I do like a month of a really good healthy detox, and I wouldn't drink, or I wouldn't have coffee or meat. And then come October, I thought, oh well, I've gone without it. You know, I won't eat meat anymore. I won't touch dairy. Alcohol always managed to get back to. But having done that, I this teacher training, I thought, okay, I'm going to stop drinking. And I told the family I'm going to stop for a month, and they were used to that. And then I carried on. I didn't make a big thing of it, because I know we're going to do a talk about addiction at some stage. Because I think when you say, oh, I'm going to stop drinking, or I'm going to stop smoking, or I'm going to stop or start doing something, some people say it's really good to share that, because you get a pat on the back from the people. But other people, for me, I think also, if they think, oh gosh, she's stopped drinking, you know, have one. People have forced, they've encouraged. My mother, bless her, she's passed now. When I gave up smoking, she was a heavy smoker, and I said, I'm giving up smoking. Have you, Karen? Or just have one, because she couldn't give up smoking, so she wanted me to be part of that. So with my drinking, and I wasn't an alcoholic, by the way. It was just I liked drinking. It's my relaxation, and it became a habit, because I have a glass. I don't even want it, but it's there. It's just this habit, and it's a ritual, isn't it? So when you pour the wine, you pop, you know, you go plop, 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 a nice glass. That, and the same with smoking. When you smoke, all those things that are ritual, and that's what was really hard to give up. But the yoga, just saying that really helped me. That made my decision. I got to 50. I said, right, I'm giving it up, and I haven't drunk since. And people are horrified, actually. But I don't need the alcohol now to be a part. Not that I'm a party girl anymore; those days are gone. But again, thanks to the yoga. But it could be thanks to going to the gym. You know, it could be something else. You've got to find your yoga, haven't you? Your means of really feeling in tune.
Getting into your body, I think.
You're getting into your body,
and then you do notice, and you.
Yeah.
Or I think yoga gives you that pause before you do something.
Yeah.
So because often we're so reactionary, like we've done it, and then you think, oh, I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
It allows the pause before the action, and that helps me not drink wine.
Yeah, have the choice.
Yeah,
it gives you
I have the choice.
Yeah. Because until you're aware, you don't have a choice.
No,
you really don't.
habits,
But then that moment you go, okay, am I going to go this way or this way?
Yeah.
Then and that's the story again. If you start saying, I'm going to have a glass of wine, I'm choosing to have it.
Yeah.
It's when people say, well, I feel really guilty. I shouldn't be doing it.
No.
It's like, whatever you do, get behind it.
That's right.
Because then you often find that you'll go, actually,
I don't want it.
half a glass is fine.
That's
or,
right.
Do you know
Moderation.
what? I want a glass of water.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the language again. It's interesting how you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to make these massive changes in a difficult way and use your willpower. You can gently get your body on board, get behind yourself, build your self-esteem. And I think that's what all the physical practices, you know, just being in your body, we don't move enough.
No, absolutely, we don't.
We're built to move, and then everything starts to get restricted, and we live up here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
we live in the
just
brain.
Get out of your head, get into...
Because we haven't even... Sorry, Lucy.
I was going to say, when I do yoga and I do hip opening exercises, if I've got experiencing negative emotions or overwhelming emotions, releasing the energy that's stuck in my hips definitely makes a difference. And I've had revelations sitting in what's it called? Is it Malasana?
Balasana? No, that's
Padkonasana.
Padkonasana. What you sitting in?
You know, the squat.
Oh, Balasana.
Yeah.
Balasana.
Yeah, like that tension in my hip joints releasing, and then it's like I have clarity of thought.
That's fantastic.
You know, when you have a lot of emotions that are overwhelming, you start to get it's like a buzz in the back of your brain, and that kind of fluttering anxiety. Those poses can take me out of that.
Fantastic.
That's brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant that you've really got that just from the practice and being that's you give yourself credit for that, because it is. I mean, to really notice that when you're moving your hips, it's changing your mind. That's pretty,
That's kind of what it's all about, isn't it?
It
Really
is.
Yeah,
And we haven't even mentioned the chakra system, have we? Which is linked, obviously, to our energy wheels, which that'll be a whole different show. But so we are aware of that, and we'll come back, because we could talk and talk and talk. But that'll be, for another chit chat, won't it? So cool. One thing I did also want to ask Lianne to say was that thing you said about the times. I thought that was so interesting. The amount of knowledge, because we're in here. We're just saying we're in here. We live our lives in here so much, and that's why it's important to get out of here and come into our energy bodies or our heart more. But you mentioned something about the amount of knowledge we consume these days compared to
someone in the middle. So apparently, and I've heard this several times now, there's more information in one edition of the Times newspaper today than somebody in the Middle Ages would take in a lifetime. So
I can believe that,
about what we're bombarded with.
Yeah, constantly.
No wonder we feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And need to go
really
and
hard.
do balasana.
And be in nature or stroking our dogs or whatever it is. Absolutely, because it's constant. And although technology is great, it serves a purpose, because we wouldn't be chatting to whoever's listening to this. It has really put a bit of strain on our bodies. Some of us haven't quite caught up. I think our bodies are mentally or physically haven't quite caught up with the technology that is coming. Well, especially if you're of an older generation. I'm really trying to keep up with it, just by learning how to work YouTube and cameras and all that sort of stuff. And I put a call out even to my kids. They're in their 20s. Can anybody help me with this technology? Oh no, they won't go near it. And I thought, well, I'm going to embrace it, because I want to keep my faculties. But there's so much stuff, and you think you just learned something, and then something else comes. So
But I think we can evolve as well, and I actually think this is why a lot of these sort of things that were kept secret. My Qigong teacher, his teacher, who died when she was 107, and she was still transmitting energy to people, and her grandfather taught her. So he started waking her up when she was about 7 or 8, and taking her out onto the roof to teach her. And he didn't even teach his children, because you weren't allowed to teach until you'd practiced for 60 years.
Wow.
So we think how lucky we are, because as we evolve, more and more people, and she was his teacher, and then she told him, she said, it's time to take this to the West. And he came out. I met him when I was in my late 20s, after yoga. Then I went, I opened this whole door of trying everything I could. But we're really lucky to have this knowledge now, and I think this knowledge helps us to evolve, to enjoy the world that we've created.
I think you're right.
If we do it well, so you can deal with electromagnetics if we embrace both, and we don't throw the baby out with the
well, again,
bathwater.
it's coming together, isn't it? Not like divide and conquer. Is the gym better than
It's working them in unison for the benefits.
Absolutely. And there's a friend of mine, David, who just recently said that kind of life begins at 60. In certain cultures, he said, but maybe in India or whatever, he knows that when they get to 60, they think, right now they can start living their lives, which I kind of feel that, because I feel we have got to that age of not all of us are at 60 yet, but having turned that age this year, and talking to my friend Kathy, Sexy at 60, so she's reaching that stage next January. But
I'm next July. So
are you next July? Oh, perfect. Oh,
I've still got 10 years to go. But we're sticking at 50, aren't we, Molly?
Yes, stick at 50. Stick at 50. But it's fun when you get to 60. Actually, it's fun.
Flexible at 50.
Flexible at 50. Yeah. Senile at 70.
No. Every word is a spell.
Absolutely. Not senile ever.
Not senile ever.
And we are gonna do a show on that, actually. Dementia and stuff like that, because that's very current at the moment, isn't there? And I know there's lots to talk about. There's so many things we could talk about. But I don't know if we've been on for an hour, because I didn't even look, because we just came in and started and chatted. And the problem is when you do these things and you say, oh, hi, how are you? And we end up chatting. I said, well, hang on, let's just put it on and see what comes on. So,
You did press record, didn't you?
Yes. Gonna do it all again. Yes, I did. And my battery is charged enough. My phone is charged enough. My dogs have behaved very well. They've not barked. Yours has behaved.
Mine's impeccably behaved.
She's very well. You are the dog trainer. We are going to do a session on that. And
but she's going to let me down probably any moment now and do something naughty.
I think you're going to get a,
Are you going to stick your tongue in my mouth?
Yeah. Like the wolves do. Have you ever seen the wolves do this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just briefly, totally digressing, but my middle child, second son, he has a passion for wolves. So for a bonding thing, I thought, this is probably about 8 years ago, I said, well, let's go to Norway. Something, again, is interesting. When you think about it or talk about wolves, things come up on your screens, don't they? You know, which is, so it's like they're watching you all the time. Yeah, and I was thinking about something, and then, oh my God, you get an advert for it. So this advert came up, and this was years ago, about a trip to Norway. You can go to Norway and hang out with the wolves. So I booked the trip, and off we went with my two sons. So you go into this, it's not so much an enclosure, but the wolves were reared as puppies, wolfettes. So they were reared as puppies, and then they were put back out into the wild, and they can go off. You know, they've got hundreds of acres and go off and do whatever wolves do, but they might choose to come back for feeding time, although they can go and get their own food. So if they choose to come back, you're very lucky, because then you've got your money's worth, because you've paid to hang out with them. So then you go into this enclosure. I say enclosure, you just go into this where they've got a gate, basically. You go in, you take everything off, you take all your bits off, and you have your hands in your pockets, and you just go in, and then you kneel, and like this, like a yoga pose.
Do you mean you take your jewellery off? Not
Sorry.
everything off? Can it just be
Sorry.
clear?
This isn't naked wolf
Yes,
yoga,
no, well,
is
it could be.
Did you go for
Thank
it?
you. I see, I get a little bit. You just take your attachments and your accessories off,
Yeah.
so that they don't get in the way. And you take your bag off, you zip your coat up, so there's nothing
White
like
bonus,
that. They can't grab hold of anything. And then you're in your hero pose, yoga, so you're kneeling up, not standing up, so you're the same height. And then if they choose, they come to you, and they do. So we're sitting there waiting, and then they think, here they come, and the wolves come up and they start sniffing you. And there's probably about 6 of them, and then they come up, and then they do what you were just about to do with Molly, but they go a bit further. I mean, I said to my son, do you want to go and get a room with your wolf? Because they put their tongue down your mouth, and because they can smell the food, and they're trying to get the food out. It's like feeding their babies, you know, like birds do.
As puppies,
Yeah.
a puppy will stick its tongue into the mother's mouth because she regurgitates food, and they get fed. It's how they wean them.
There you go. So that's.
I might be wrong.
No, I think you're right, because
I think I'm probably right.
Yeah, I think if I can find a picture, it came up on my Google Photos the other day. I thought, oh God, I remember that, where there's this wolf snogging my son, and the weird thing was my son was really loving it. So, but I think that was his connection to nature. And then there was this other guy in our group. You know, they did need to get a room, because this man. I had my mouth shut. You know, but William, the tongue of the wolf was quite strong, and it sort of penetrated and got in. Yeah. This other guy, his mouth was wide open, and the wolf was there. You know, it was down there for a long time. And he said, and we said, why has he gone for you? And the guy said, well, I'd had salmon for dinner or something. So it's fascinating. Anyway, is that yogic? I don't know. It's just more banter about wolves.
Well,
we can come back to
it, isn't it? To another living being, which is yoga off the mat.
It is yoga off the mat, wolf pose. Yeah,
wolf pose.
Wolf pose. So on that, shall we? Anybody want to say, or we're done? I think we've probably done. I don't know, an hour. Who knows? But I think that's plenty. So again. What you're going to say?
Thank you for joining us. So please don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share this, comment, and we'll see you soon. Yeah,
we'll see you soon. I think on Friday. I can't remember what we're doing on Friday, but it will be up there. I can't remember.
And we're back next.
Monday, and we're talking about with a doula, aren't we? We've got Roma.
No, Roma's on Friday.
Oh, Roma's on Friday, so she's a doula. So we're going to talk about
next Monday.
No, I can't remember. There's so much, and it's going to get busier, because we've nearly got our little group of 13 wise women. I think 2 more just signing up to, because we've got to all get on with each other, haven't we? Obviously, and you've got to want to do it and commit to doing this. So we will be familiar faces, but we've got so many people that actually want to come on the show. We've got to talk about so many things. So, and as I said before, put in the comment if there's something you want us to talk about, and we will talk. So thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, comment,
Namaste.
and namaste. Have a nice day.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.